Making a big push across the state of Florida this week. It's a must-win battleground for the GOP nominee, who insists he is winning this race no matter what the polls say, or as he calls them, the dark polls. Don't believe the polls, Donald Trump says. Believe him.
And watch the polls, because this is part of the crooked system.
As Trump explained to farmers in Florida, the latest election polls conducted by the mainstream news media are part of a bitter harvest, seeding doubts about his ability to win.
These are what they call them dark polls. They are phony polls put out by phony media. And I'll tell you what, all of us are affected by this stuff. And what they do is they try and suppress the vote. This way people don't go out and vote.
For Trump, the polls are now part of the conspiracy to deny him the White House, or as he described it roughly 7 times in 1 minute, a rigged system.
We are going to fix our rigged system. It's a rigged, broken, corrupt system. It's rigged. It's broken. It's corrupt. They want me to take that back. Let me tell you, folks, it's a rigged system. We're in a rigged system. We're in a broken and corrupt system. And Bernie Sanders was in a rigged system.
The latest CNN ORC poll for Trump trailing Clinton by 5 points.
We are behind.
Trump campaign manager Kellyanne Conway conceded what aides say privately. Trump will have to come from behind to win.
Her husband campaigning for her, the current president and first lady, vice president, all much more popular than she can hope to be. But she's seen as the incumbent. So our advantage going in, where we're behind 1, 3, 4 points in some of these swing states that Mitt Romney lost to President Obama, our advantage is that Donald Trump is just going to continue to take the case directly to the people.
But it's a case Trump sometimes mishandles, such as when he traveled to Gettysburg to lay out his vision for his first 100 days in office, only to spend the first 10 minutes attacking the women who accused him of sexual assault.
All of these liars will be sued after the election is over.
Just today, Trump brushed off one of his newest accusers.
He grabbed each of us tightly in a hug and kissed each one of us without asking permission,
Pointing out she has starred in adult films.
One said he grabbed me on the arm, and she's a porn star. Now, this one that came out recently, he grabbed me, and he grabbed me on the arm. Oh, I'm sure she's never been grabbed before.
Little more than 2 weeks left in the campaign, Trump is painting a dark picture at rally after rally of an election that is being stolen from him.
There is the issue of voter fraud. Isn't it amazing the way they say there's no voter fraud?
At nearly every one of his stops, angry supporters lash out at reporters. Trump says changes are coming for members of the news media who will face more lawsuits if he's elected.
Our press is allowed to say whatever they want, and they can get away with it. And I think we should go to a system where if they do something wrong, I'm a big believer, tremendous believer in freedom of the press. I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about anybody else. Then yes, I think they should be, you should have the ability to sue them.
But Donald Trump does not have to listen to the news media. He can listen to his fellow Republicans. Endangered Republicans in races across the country are starting to warn their supporters that they better vote for them to stop Hillary Clinton once she gets to the White House. Wolf, that's more ominous than any poll.
Jim Acosta in Tampa for us. We'll stand by to wait and hear what Donald Trump has to say. Thanks very much. Joining us now, Trump campaign senior communications advisor, Jason Miller. Jason, thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me. And before you get going, Wolf, I got to tell you, that piece from Jim Acosta was one of the most heavily edited, most dishonest intro packages I've probably ever had set up. And so I'm sorry. Normally I wouldn't start off an interview like this, but everything from Kellyanne's words to the description of what's going on in the race was just nonsense. So
well, your colleague Kellyanne Conway, the campaign manager, she's a pollster. She did say over the weekend on Meet the Press, she said that Donald Trump is behind in the race. What was inaccurate about that?
Well, Wolf, if you listen to all of her comments, she was saying that we were behind on spending. And that's very clearly, look, we're doing fantastic. We're ahead in the Rasmussen poll. The IBD poll shows that this race is dead even. And even in the CNN poll that came out an hour or so ago, number one, it's the same margin that it was the last time that CNN ORC had a national survey. But second, and here's one of the things I think is important for folks at home. Hold on, Wolf, just one second. One thing is, if you look at the gender gap between men and women with Mr. Trump Trump and Secretary Clinton. It's the exact same place that it was for Obama and Mitt Romney. When you look at the men, it's not believable, Wolf, to think that Mr. Trump is only ahead by 3 points with men. That is just, or to think that she is ahead with terrorism or immigration or Supreme Court. That's just, that's not realistic.
Jim Acosta did not take her out of context. We're not taking her out of context. Even Trump today said in a local interview, he said and I'm quoting him now, he said he's somewhat behind. He says he's also winning, but he says he's somewhat behind. We're not taking that out of context either.
So let me tell you where he's behind, Wolf. Let me tell you where he's behind. Where he's behind is in Pennsylvania, slightly. He's behind slightly in Michigan. There are these blue states that Mr. Trump is putting into play where we get zero credit for doing so. And let me tell you where we're leading. We're leading in places like Iowa, which has been blue the last couple of cycles. Leading in Ohio. It's probably a tied race in North Carolina. We might be slightly ahead there. In Florida, I believe we're within the margin in that state. And actually we're ahead on absentees at the moment. So we feel like we're winning this race. And Mr. Trump said that in his very last rally that he was in. And so that's the real reflection of where we are as a campaign.
Based on all the scientific polls that CNN and other major news organizations use, not the other unscientific polls, this is our information, and I'll share it with you. Trump is ahead in Iowa, Ohio, and Georgia. Yes, he's ahead in those 3 states. But the last time he was ahead in the following states was a while ago based on the polls that we accept. Florida, Nevada, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Virginia. In the polls that we accept as scientific and legitimate, right now Hillary Clinton is either slightly ahead or significantly ahead in those states.
Well, if I push back on that completely. I don't believe that CNN or any other news organization can simply play voice of God on this and decide which polls are acceptable and which ones aren't. In the primary, almost every single primary, every single poll undercounted and discounted Mr. Trump's support going in. He won with huge margins, even bigger so than before. We're seeing a lot of support in places. Again, we think we're right on the edge in Pennsylvania. You look at Michigan. In fact, don't just listen to me, Wolf. Look at where Secretary Clinton has been spending her time. She was on the trail with Senator Kaine this past weekend. Were they in a purple state or a red state? No, they were in Pennsylvania doing 2 different events trying to gin up their base. Look where they're going this week, Iowa. Blue state where we're actually leading. So don't just listen to me. Look at where they're going as well.
We've acknowledged that Iowa is going for Trump according to the most recent polls that we accept. We've acknowledged that right now. But you remember during the primaries, Donald Trump would always start off his speeches how well he was doing, and he was doing well against those 16 other Republican senators and governors and other Republican candidates. This is what he tweeted earlier today. I'll put it up on the screen. This is from at Real Donald Trump. Major story that the Dems are making up phony polls in order to suppress the Trump. We are going to win. All right, so do you regard our CNN ORC poll as phony?
I'm sorry, what was that, Wolf?
Do you regard our CNN ORC poll that came out today, which shows Hillary Clinton nationally with a 5-point lead over Trump, as phony?
I think the sampling was clearly flawed. There's no way that Mr. Trump is only ahead by 3 points with male voters. There's no way that Hillary Clinton is leading with some of these other categories. The one thing that, even despite the flawed methodology and the flawed sampling, they did get right is that Mr. Trump is leading with voters who are concerned most about the economy, and they believe that Mr. Trump, with his business background, is the right candidate to do that.